Hey you guys, welcome back. Today we're diving into the Canucks trade that they actually made. So I was at work all day, I wasn't able to record this, but now I'm sitting here, I'm able to dissect this and take a look at it. The number one thing the Vancouver Canucks have been trying to address lately is their right shot defenseman. I don't know if this trade is that solution, but I think it is some help, especially on potentially our bottom pair defense for that, specifically that right side. Before I dive in and show you guys the trade, of course, if you guys are new to the channel, it would mean a lot if you guys subscribed and liked the video if you enjoyed. Let's dive in. So here is a look of the trade. We got the graphic up on the screen here that the Canucks posted over on Instagram, and it's Mark Friedman and Ty Glover from the Pittsburgh Penguins when we send them Jack Rathbone and Carrere Plezek. I think that's how you pronounce it. I probably butchered that. I remember him being like a later draft pick from the Canucks just based off my memory, and that's pretty much all I remember from him. I don't remember a lot. But let's dive into this, because this is how I kind of see this trade working out. Is I kind of see it two 1-for-1s in a sense. I see the Canucks trading Rathbone to the Penguins and getting back Friedman, who kind of is that 1-for-1, and maybe Rathbone has a little bit more trade value, but it's hard to say. He did clear waivers, so maybe he doesn't. And then the two AHL guys there with Glover and Plezek, I see them kind of being 1-for-1. But we'll dive in, take a look at both players and kind of see what they've done and give my assessment quickly. So let's start over with the Canucks kind of perspective here, and we'll start with Plezek here. He hasn't done, honestly, a lot. Like, I'll be honest with you, he played for Abbotsford in 8 games last year, had 0 points. This year, he's currently playing over in Czechia, and he's got 15 points in 31 games, which isn't terrible. He's probably getting like third-line minutes, so it's not the end of the world. And then the year before that, actually 2 years ago, he played in Czechia again, had 10 points in 44 games. I don't think he's an NHLer. I don't think he will make the NHL. He's 23 years old and from Czechia. He's 6 foot 181. I don't see him ever making the NHL, in my opinion. Then Jack Rathbone, everyone knows Jack Rathbone. He gets hurt a lot. I think that's the number one thing with Jack Rathbone. He also has unreal offensive talent. That's another thing too. You can see here in 37 games last year, he had 14 points. That's not too bad. 2 points in 11 games for the NHL. This year, he's only played 2 games, has 1 point. That sounds like Rathbone. And then 2 years ago was when he had like his big breakout year in the AHL, where he put up 40 points in 39 games. But once again, only 39 games because he's been injured. He's just always injured. The guy can't catch a break. I genuinely hope the absolute best for him, because I really do like him, and I really do think with his offensive upside that he could potentially make it to the NHL one day. He just needs to not get hurt, and his defensive game is definitely a little bit of a struggle and a worry. Let's take a look at Glover here. One cool thing about him is he is from Britain. He's from the UK. Super cool. You can see in the AHL last year he had 12 points in 49 games, but then in the NCAA there he had 21 points in 39 games, so not too bad. One thing about him is he is just a big center. He can play the wing, but he's 6'3", 201 pounds. He's just a big dude. I think the Canucks are going to put him in Abbotsford there. I think he's going to do well in Abbotsford. Abbotsford has an awesome team. We seem to have a really good AHL team. I think he's going to fit right in and just be a good fit down there. And then Mark Friedman. So the number one thing with Mark Friedman here is the fact that he is an actual bona fide NHLer. As you can see here, last year he played, I wouldn't say bona fide, that's a bit of a stretch, but he is an NHLer. He does have some experience. Last year he had 23 games, he had 3 points plus 2. Not too bad. He's probably playing that bottom line. Look, he's getting like 14 minutes, 13 minutes a night. That's kind of what you expect. Genuinely though, I think it's an improvement, and I think it's a good trade. Like I said, Rathbone, somebody who cleared waivers, probably was never going to make this Canucks team, as sad as it is to say. There was just probably no chance of it. And now we turn somebody like that who cleared waivers into an NHL guy who has some experience, and he's a right shot defenseman, which is exactly what we need. He's only 27 years old. He's a smaller dude, 5'11", 185, but he's not afraid to throw the body. One thing I've seen is somebody on Twitter, I totally forget his name or his Twitter name, but he said that he reminds him of Kyle Burrows, which I'm fine with. Smaller dude, but plays physical. That's what I like. What I get most excited about is this doesn't fit like the big problem we have with having a good right shot defenseman in our top 4. This doesn't solve that at all. But it does solve us playing Juleson on the bottom pair, because holy moly is Juleson rough. Right now, at the time I'm recording this, I just watched the first period of the Canucks versus Philly game. I'm not sure how the rest of the game is going to turn out, but I watched the first period, and my God, is Juleson awful. He made a pinch, crazy turnover. Even last game against the Edmonton Oilers, just an insane turnover when he could have just dumped the puck on the PK. He makes some just not the brightest decisions. Juleson may be solid in the AHL and maybe a good AHLer and can play his career down there, but I genuinely just don't think he has what it takes to play in the NHL. So I do think Mark Friedman does provide that more veteranship. He's 27. He hasn't played a lot in the NHL, but he's 27, so he's kind of got that veteranship, and I think he can bring that to the NHL, and I think he's going to be a solid acquisition to our bottom D pair. So like I said, it's super duper sad to see Rathbone go, but I genuinely do hope the best for him. I hope he tears it up in Pittsburgh. Their defense is kind of stacked too, so I don't see a huge opportunity for him, but maybe after this season, he might have that opportunity. Who knows? I do still see major offensive upside to Rathbone. I mean, he put up 40 points in 39 games. It's definitely there. He just needs to do it consistently and not get hurt. And that's the number one thing. He also needs to improve on his defense. But I do hope the best for him because it honestly was kind of a sad thing to see him go. He was like a year ago, maybe even a year and a half ago, labeled as one of our better prospects. And then he just started falling down the list. And now I would say we almost have 3 better defensemen in him. I can think off the bat of Hirose and McWard and maybe Johansson even being better than what he is. And definitely Willander as well. So like, he's just fallen down our defensive charts, which is super unfortunate for him. It's just the way it goes. There you guys have it. That's my brief thoughts on the trade between the Vancouver Canucks and Pittsburgh Penguins. We got Mark Friedman and Ty Glover. Let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments, especially if you're Canucks fans. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. It'd mean a lot if you guys subscribed. Like the video if you enjoyed. I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.